Alright, well, welcome to a tying tutorial, I guess is what you would call it. We're going to be tying some mice, and just a pattern that I came up with, I guess, maybe borrowed from a lot of other patterns and things. This is a simple deer hair mouse, and this is a little mice made out of kangaroo hair, mouse. All of these mice have roo leather feet and tails. One thing that I did notice while I was doing a little bit of research online and watching swimming mice, and what's interesting is that mice, as they swim, they use their back feet, and they actually tuck their front feet up into their body a little bit, and so you can't, you can still see the front feet, but you can't really, there's not a real prominent feature. So, but the back feet are prominent when mice swim, and so I figured I'd put the back feet in, and then do pink tails, and then just kind of natural deer hair colored bodies. This one's got a little bit, less trimming that I did on the body. Some of these I've trimmed out pretty much. They take a ton of hair, I did little white or black spots for eyes, and we're gonna have a little mouse fishing adventure this weekend. We're gonna hike into a favorite spot in the dark and see if we can't get some big brown trout to eat these. Got a little hair sticking out there. See if we can't get some big brownies to munch on some mice in the dark. It's been so hot this summer, and I'm sure that a lot of these big browns are feeding nocturnally. So, what I'm going to do, you can see my setup here. It's just a basement setup. It's not even a finished basement. I just have some artwork around and some different. One cool thing about fly tying stuff is it's just so good looking. I've got these feathers laying around and stuff, and it's try to keep my workstation clean. You can see all the deer hair that I've been trimming just in my waste basket here. Just tons of deer hair just from these mice that I've made. The first thing I'm going to do is we're going to select just a great big, these are nymph hooks, but they're big TMC 300s. These are size 4s, and but even though they're thick wire, I think all of that deer hair is going to float these pretty well. So you put a lot of floating on that, and I don't think you're going to have a problem with these things sinking. So we'll start with that, a TMC 300 size 4. Alright, first thing we're going to do is put this big old hook in the jaw here. And I'm just going to start wrapping with some black thread. I like to put a layer of thread on the hook. I think the materials bind to it easier. From some kangaroo leather. And I'm not going to be too critical here. I'm just going to go kind of thick to thin. I'll go ahead and cut it on the curve. I've been using the curve for the feet, but it works fine for the tail. The stuff is nice and pliable, and when it gets wet it really has some good movement to it. I'll cut a little bump off of that. Make it smoother. Not bad. Tail. And we'll also cut out some feet. The feet are really simple. We're just going to go thicker to thin, like that, and we'll eventually tie that in as a foot. Do another one to match it. Just thick to thin, maybe an inch and a quarter long, something like that. Should be just fine. just going to take, got a whole set of these Prismacolor markers. I'm just going to take the pink marker out of it. And these are great because they're alcohol based. And I'm just going to color these tails pink with this marker. And move my see that or not. See where I've been. Coloring all is pretty simple. These are color fast. They won't it won't lighten up in the water or anything. It's pretty permanent. Let me do the feet. Use Prismacolor markers for a lot of different things. Part of it's my art background. I was an art teacher for a long time. And that's why I like tying flies. I like the idea of making relatively realistic things, but making them simple to tie. So, alright, let's get back to the vise. Alright, next we'll just tie in this tail. Very simple. It's a long hook, sometimes takes some getting used to. Clearing that hook eye there. And take a little leg, just tie it onto the back. Do a couple wraps underneath to help that leg look like it's kicking out a little bit. A little bit of separation. The other leg, I'm trying to match up the length of the leg. So, looks as symmetrical as we can make it. Again, I'm going to go behind that leg just a little bit to see if I can't make it want to naturally kick out a little bit. So these two legs will spread apart a little bit, maybe when we get some deer hair on there. Now luckily, I have a friend who's a hunter, and he gave me a pelt, a deer pelt, and I was able to prepare. I took that deer pelt and I salted it down and prepared a whole bunch of these. I've got a ton of this deer hair, and when you're tying mice, you're going to go through a lot of this stuff. One kind of creepy thing is that sometimes you end up, you know, with a tick in the fur and stuff, and you just have to play through the pain, I think, with a lot of this. So what I'll do is I'll cut a clump like this, and then just try to keep it together in my hand. And I don't use a stacker really for mice. Alright, bring our thread back to the butt of the mouse here. And we're just going to let this be the very back end of that mouse. We're just basically spinning deer hair. So I'm going to tie that in. I'm using 6/0 thread. So I can crank it down pretty well. I want it to be nice and tight. I'm going to run a couple of threads through like this. I'm going to push this back. Really kind of stack that, pack that back, pull it back with my fingers, and then kind of secure it on the front there. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to keep stacking hair all the way through until that mouse is finished, until Lisa's body is, the hook is full of hair. This is about the 7th or 8th stack of hair on this hook. Finally, I think we're reaching the end. I think we can probably just fill this in a little bit and then whip finish that. Put a little head cement on it. I think we'll be in good shape. Do a couple of whips on it. It's a lot of material to hold back with just thread, so. There we go. There's the beginnings of our mouse. You can see all the trimming that we've got to do. This is a finished mouse, so we're just going to start trimming him back and you're ready to fish. Yeah, we're gonna just take a Sharpie marker and make some black spots for eyes on each side. And a little bit of head cement on that thread. Clean out that hook eye. Probably just do it with this bodkin. Those hooks are so big. Alright, in good shape. There's a little mouse with hind legs and eyes, and ready to join the rest of them.